So once you've practiced the words on the white plain sheet and you've gone over them again and again, you may now have the confidence to move on to other papers. So I've got a plain paper here and all I've drawn in the way of guidelines is my baseline. Now it's up to you. You can go ahead and you can draw the 4 lines that we discussed earlier if you want to, if that's going to help you. But I'm happy to use just the baseline to keep all my letters on one level. Now you'll notice I have gone in with a pencil first, and I would always recommend this. It doesn't mean that you are still practicing. I think all experts will go in with a pencil first. This will help you with your spacing. It will help you keep everything neat and make sure you're happy with how the finished piece is going to look. It will also help you with joining up your letters, because that's something you will need to overcome. Once you can form your letters, each letter will have to easily form into the next one, and you can see that that's going to flow nicely if you draw it out in pencil first. The great thing is you don't then need to wipe the pencil away, except for the guidelines, because you're going to go over with a black pen. So you can see here I've written with my pencil my word, and of course I've only got one thickness of line because it's a pencil, but we'll correct this with our pen now. Now I'm going to use one of my pens and I'm going to turn my paper. This is because I've always written, when I'm doing my handwriting, with my paper at an angle. So this is entirely up to you and complete preference. You can have it straight, you can have it to the left or right, however you are comfortable. The key here is to be comfortable. Make sure you've got enough room to move your hand backwards and forwards across the page without leaning and smudging on your ink as well. So if you're writing in a space where you're really cramped up, you're not going to have the room to get that flow and you'll end up stopping. If your pen is resting on your paper for too long, you could end up with the ink saturating into the paper, resulting in a blob of ink that you don't want. You want to be able to flow at a nice speed throughout. So what I'm going to do is obviously start on the left-hand side, and I'm going to start with a thin upstroke. So I'm coming up my B, and that's very little pressure. And now at the top, I'm going to press down hard, not releasing my pen from the paper. But you can see the stroke is now thicker. Thinner as I go up, and again thicker as I go down. This is something that will naturally come to you. You can stop at the end of each letter. Just ensure the end of your last letter finishes where your next letter will be. You can take a break, you can shake your hand out if you need to, you can go and get a drink, and then you can come back to it. Because as you see, when we go into our next letter, we're going to go over where the last one finished. Up again, and I can stop here. I'm happy to change my position if I need to. I can then press down again. So you can see I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. I'm not at an angle that I feel uncomfortable at. I'm not hurrying myself either. Any strokes that go across, so if you are crossing your T's, for example, leave those as thin strokes. We never do them as thick strokes until we get into flourishes, which I'm going to explain later on. So going through the letters, and what you'll find is as you start lettering, you'll get a bit of a rhythm going and you'll be able to get faster and faster. Now, people who do lettering on social media, their lettering will look extremely quick and you'll think, well, I'll never be able to do that quickly. You may feel like you're not as good as them because you can't do it as quickly. I can almost guarantee those videos are sped up. Brush lettering is not a fast skill at all. It's actually something that's done very slowly. And what you'll also get is the creaking of the pen on the paper. Now, for anyone who letters, you'll know that that is a really nice sound. That's something that means the ink is flowing out of there. You're putting the right pressure on the paper, so don't worry if you can hear that with your pen and paper.